There are moments when heaven whispers, and then there are moments when heaven shouts. This is not a gentle nudge. This is not a subtle impression. This is a divine interruption. God is shouting from heaven, "Don't make this mistake again." Something serious is about to happen within hours. Open immediately before it's too late. Feel the weight of that. This is not about next year. This is not about someday. This is about now. There is a spiritual urgency pressing against the atmosphere, and if you can sense it in your spirit, it's because this message was meant to reach you at this exact second. When God raises his voice, it is never random. He does not shout without reason. Throughout history, whenever heaven has elevated its tone, it had been because a turning point was at hand. A line was being drawn. A decision was about to lock in consequences. And right now, you are standing at one of those lines. The words echo with intensity. Don't make this mistake again. That means it has happened before. That means there was a previous warning. That means mercy already intervened once. But now, something serious is about to happen within hours. Why would heaven stress within hours? Because timing matters in the spirit. There are divine windows that open and close. There are moments when protection is extended, and moments when consequences are allowed to unfold. And when God says open immediately before it's too late, he is revealing that delay is dangerous. The mistake is not just an action. It is a pattern. It is a cycle that has tried to repeat itself in your life. Maybe it looks small on the surface. Maybe it feels familiar. But heaven sees the ripple effect you cannot see. Heaven sees the doors it opens, the damage it invites, the regret it creates. This is not about fear. This is about prevention. When a loving father shouts, it is because harm is closer than you realize. Imagine a parent seeing a child about to step into traffic. The shout is not anger. The shout is protection. And right now, God is not whispering because whispering would not be enough. The stakes are higher. The hour is closer. The atmosphere is shifting. Something serious is about to happen within hours. That does not mean chaos for those who listen. It means exposure for what hath been hidden. It means acceleration for what has been building quietly. It means a sudden shift that will make everything clearer. The spiritual realm moves faster than we think. Decisions that seem harmless can activate consequences quickly. And sometimes, what have been delayed suddenly catches up all at once. You may have felt a restlessness lately, a conviction you tried to push aside, a thought that kept returning, a sense that something is not aligned. That is not coincidence. That is mercy tapping on your heart before the knock becomes a shaking. God always gives signals before he allows impact. He always provides a chance to correct before events solidify. And this message is the chance. There are people who ignored similar warnings in the past and later said, "I knew I should have listened." They felt the check in their spirit. They heard the quiet caution. But comfort, pride, distraction, or delay convinced them there was more time. And when the moment passed, it did not return. The consequences were not immediate punishment. They were simply the result of ignoring alignment. Heaven does not force obedience. It invites it. But when invitation is rejected repeatedly, events are allowed to unfold. Right now, you are not here by accident. You did not click on this message randomly. The urgency in the title is not exaggeration. It is a lifeline. The phrase "open immediately before it's too late" is not symbolic language. It is a spiritual instruction. Open your heart. Open your eyes. Open your understanding. Because once the next few hours pass, what is set in motion may not be easily reversed. This is the turning point. This is the intersection where mercy meets consequence. And God, in His love, is shouting so you do not walk blindly into regret. He is exposing the seriousness now so you can avoid the sorrow later. He is elevating His voice so you can lower your pride. He is intensifying the urgency so you can intensify your obedience. Do not dismiss this as emotional language. Do not brush it off as dramatic tone. The Spirit knows when something is different. The Spirit recognizes when heaven is pressing harder than usual. And right now, there is pressure because there is purpose. There is urgency because there is impact. There is a shout because silence would cost too much. You are being given a sacred opportunity in this very hour. The mistake does not have to repeat. The cycle does not have to continue. The door that led to pain before does not have to be opened again. But the choice must be made quickly. Within hours, something serious is about to happen. And whether it becomes a story of protection or a story of regret depends on what you do with this warning. Heaven is not silent. Heaven is not passive. Heaven is shouting. And the question is not whether God has spoken. The question is whether you will respond before it's too late. Here is a mistake that does not look dangerous at first glance. It does not announce itself loudly. It does not come wrapped in obvious rebellion. In fact, it often disguises itself as delay, as comfort, as I will fix this tomorrow. But heaven is shouting because this mistake has been repeated one too many times. And when God says, "Don't make this mistake again," it means the pattern has reached a critical point. The mistake many believers keep repeating is ignoring divine timing while assuming divine mercy will always wait. It begins subtly. You feel a conviction in your spirit, but you postpone acting on it. You sense God nudging you to step away from something unhealthy, but you reason your way around it. You know a conversation needs to happen, a habit needs to break, a door needs to close, or a step of obedience needs to be taken. Yet instead of responding immediately, you delay. You tell yourself there is still time. You convince yourself that one more hour, one more day, one more chance will not matter. But in the Spirit, timing is everything. This is not about imperfection. God understands human weakness. This is about repeated disregard for divine instruction. It is about hearing clearly and choosing comfort anyway. It is about knowing the pattern led to pain before, yet stepping back into it because it feels familiar. The danger is not always in dramatic disobedience. The danger is in casual neglect, the slow drift, the quiet compromise, the small decision that opens the same old door. Why is this so serious right now? Because something is about to happen within hours. And when a shift is approaching, the wrong alignment can amplify consequences. Imagine standing under unstable ground while tremors begin. The tremors themselves are not the main problem. The problem is where you are positioned when they start. God is shouting because your position matters in this hour. The mistake is staying where you were warned not to stay. The mistake is speaking what you were warned not to speak. The mistake is trusting what you were warned not to trust. Many believers fall into the trap of assuming that because God rescued them before, He will automatically intervene again without their cooperation. But mercy is not permission to repeat the cycle. Mercy is an opportunity to correct it. When mercy is ignored, what follows is not cruelty. It is consequence. And consequence moves quickly when divine timing accelerates. There are signs you may be repeating this mistake right now. You feel restless, but you push the feeling down. You feel prompted to pray, but you scroll instead. You feel the urge to apologize, but pride tightens your mouth. You sense a relationship is pulling you away from your spiritual focus, yet you refuse to address it. You know a decision needs to be made, yet you keep delaying it because change feels uncomfortable. These are not random thoughts. These are warnings. And when ignored repeatedly, they create openings for loss. The spiritual atmosphere shifts quickly. What felt stable yesterday may not remain stable tomorrow. What seemed secure last week may reveal cracks within hours. God sees what is forming behind the scenes. He sees conversations you are not present for. He sees events aligning. He sees consequences approaching like waves gathering momentum. And out of love he raises his voice. This is why this message is urgent. This is why it cannot be treated casually. The mistake is not always dramatic sin. Sometimes it is spiritual laziness. Sometimes it is assuming that small compromises do not matter. Sometimes it is prioritizing temporary feelings over eternal alignment. But when heaven says, "Don't make this mistake again," it means the margin for error has narrowed. Right now, I need you to engage with this message intentionally. If this is speaking directly to your spirit, do not stay silent. Like this video as a sign that you are receiving the warning. Comment, "I am listening," as a declaration that your heart is open. Share this message with someone who may be standing at the same dangerous edge. And if you have not already, subscribe to this channel so you never miss a divine alert when heaven sounds the alarm. These are not just digital actions. They are ways of aligning yourself publicly with obedience and helping others hear before it's too late. There is power in acknowledging when God is speaking. There is strength in humility. The enemy thrives in silence and delay. But when you respond quickly, you break the cycle. When you admit, "Yes, I have repeated this," you position yourself for protection. A mistake only continues when it is denied. It only grows when it is justified. It only becomes destructive when it is ignored. Within hours, something serious is about to happen. That does not mean disaster for you. It means exposure for patterns that cannot continue. It means acceleration that will reveal whether you chose alignment or delay. The question is simple but urgent. Will you respond differently this time? God is shouting not to shame you, but to save you. He's elevating his voice because he refuses to watch you walk back into what wounded you before. This is your moment to break the repetition. This is your moment to choose obedience over comfort. Because once the next phase begins, the opportunity to correct this mistake may not look the same again. There are moments in life that feel ordinary on the surface, yet in the spirit they are loaded with consequence. The next few hours are not casual. They are not random fragments of time drifting by unnoticed. They are prophetic. When God says something serious is about to happen within hours, He's revealing that the spiritual clock has accelerated. Heaven does not measure time the way we do. What feels like delay to us can suddenly become rapid movement in the unseen realm. And when that acceleration begins, events align quickly. Prophetic timing is different from human timing. We plan in days, weeks, and years. God moves in moments. There are divine intersections where decisions lock into place. There are spiritual crossroads where one response shifts an entire outcome. The next few hours represent that kind of intersection. It is a window, small, precise, and powerful. Windows do not stay open forever. When they close, the atmosphere changes. You may not see anything dramatic happening around you right now. The room may look the same. The sky may look calm. But beneath the surface, movements are taking place. Conversations are unfolding. Decisions are being finalized. Consequences are forming momentum. The spiritual realm is active, and what is decided in these hours will ripple forward. That is why heaven is shouting before the shift, not after it. Throughout history, sudden moments have carried enormous weight. A single choice made in a brief window determined years of peace or years of regret. The prophetic nature of within hours is about immediacy. It is about understanding that hesitation now could cost significantly later. When God warns about hours, He is highlighting a critical threshold. You are approaching a dividing line. Some of you have felt an unusual tension today, a heightened awareness, a sense that something is different. That is not anxiety without cause. That is discernment. Your spirit recognizes movement. Your heart senses that this is not business as usual. And instead of ignoring that feeling, you must lean into it. Ask yourself, what has God been telling me repeatedly that I have postponed? What decision have I been avoiding? What correction have I delayed? The next few hours matter because they will either confirm your obedience or expose your delay. Prophetic moments reveal alignment. If you respond now, quickly, humbly, decisively, you position yourself under protection. But if you brush this off again, the shift may feel harsher than it needed to be. Not because God desired harm, but because alignment was refused. Sometimes, what is about to happen is not external chaos but internal exposure. Truth surfacing. Motives revealed. Hidden issues brought into light. Within hours, you may see clarity that has been clouded for months. You may receive information that forces a decision. You may experience a sudden realization that confirms everything you have been sensing. And when that moment arrives, you will remember this warning. Do not underestimate how quickly life can pivot. One phone call, one message, one unexpected development, one realization. Hours are enough time for everything to change direction. That is why delay is dangerous right now. You are not being asked to panic. You are being asked to prepare. Preparation is obedience in advance. There is also mercy embedded in this urgency. God does not announce serious moments without giving opportunity for adjustment. He does not allow shifts without first sounding the alarm. The very fact that you are hearing this means heaven desires your protection. It means you are being given advance notice. And advance notice is a gift. Right now, you must quiet distractions. Turn down the noise. Refuse to numb the conviction. The next few hours require clarity. They require immediate responsiveness. If there is something you need to correct, correct it now. If there is something you need to end it now. If there is something you need to confess, confess it now. The prophetic weight of this window demands action, not contemplation. And hear this carefully. What comes next will make everything clearer. The unfolding will confirm why this urgency was necessary. You may not fully understand it yet, but you will. You will be glad you responded instead of hesitated. Hold on to that awareness, because what is about to unfold carries explanation within it. Type "I receive the warning" in the comments if this resonates with you. Lesson code 314 is now activated over every obedient heart. As you declare it, may clarity increase and protection surround you in these next critical hours. You are standing in a sacred window of time. The clock is moving. A shift is forming. And heaven has shouted so that you do not step into what could have been avoided. The next few hours matter more than you realize. As this prophetic urgency settles into your spirit, understand something deeper. This warning is not meant to stop with you. There are others who are standing in their own critical hours, unaware that heaven is calling their name. When you release a super thanks, step into membership, or sow through PayPal using the link in the description or the QR code on your screen. You are planting seed into a field ready for harvest. The Lord declares over you, as you sow into my work, I will cause light to break forth in your darkness. I am inviting you to become a carrier of this trumpet call so that souls on the edge can hear before their window closes. This is not about supporting a channel. It is about fueling a fire that warns, protects, and restores. Your gift becomes oil in the lamp that must keep burning. As you act in obedience now, may open heavens respond swiftly over your life. Step forward and seal this moment with your seed. There is a dangerous silence that follows a rejected warning. It is not the silence of peace. It is the silence of consequence beginning to unfold. When heaven shouts and the heart refuses to respond, something shifts. The voice that was once loud becomes distant, not because God has abandoned you, but because the decision has already been made. Ignoring heaven's voice does not cancel truth. It simply removes the cushion that was meant to soften what comes next. The consequence of ignoring divine instruction is rarely instant destruction. It is usually gradual exposure. It is watching something you depended on begin to crack. It is seeing a relationship strain under the weight of what was never corrected. It is feeling peace slowly slip away because alignment was ignored. Consequences are not always dramatic at first. They are often subtle shifts that grow louder with time. When God says, "Don't make this mistake again," it is because He has already seen the outcome of repeating it. He has already witnessed the ripple effect. He knows where that road leads. And when His warning is dismissed, the road does not disappear. It continues exactly where it was always heading. One of the greatest consequences of ignoring heaven's voice is hardened sensitivity. The first time God convicts you, it feels strong. The second time, it feels familiar. The third time, it becomes easier to rationalize. Over time, the heart grows less responsive. What once stirred your conscience begins to feel normal. That is one of the most serious spiritual conditions a person can face, not because it is irreversible, but because it numbs awareness. And when awareness is numb, danger feels safe. Another consequence is misprotection. Sometimes we imagine consequences only as punishment, but often, the true consequence is losing the shield that obedience would have provided. God's instructions are not restrictions meant to limit you. They are boundaries meant to guard you. When those boundaries are repeatedly crossed, you step outside of coverage. The storm that was once blocked begins to touch you directly. There are moments when heaven draws a line and says this far, no further. But if that line is ignored, events are allowed to progress. Not out of cruelty, but out of spiritual law. Choices carry outcomes. Seeds produce harvests, and timing determines how quickly those harvests appear. Right now, something serious is about to happen within hours. If the warning is ignored, the unfolding may feel sudden and overwhelming, not because it was unexpected, but because it was unheeded. Ignoring heaven's voice can also lead to regret that echoes for years. Regret is a heavy burden. It whispers, "You knew better." It reminds you of the moment when correction was possible. It replays the memory of conviction that was pushed aside. God does not desire you to live with regret. That is why He raises His voice before the irreversible point. He would rather shout now than comfort you later through preventable pain. There is also relational consequence. When divine instruction is ignored, it often affects more than just you. Decisions ripple outward. Families feel the impact. Friendships strain. Trust weakens. The mistake that seemed personal becomes public in its effects. And once trust is damaged, rebuilding takes time. This is why heaven intervenes early. It sees the wider circle. Spiritually, ignoring heaven's voice creates distance. Not because God moves away, but because you step back. The intimacy you once felt becomes faint. Prayer feels heavier. Clarity feels clouded. You may still believe, but connection feels strained. That distance is not permanent, but it deepens with continued neglect. Restoration is always available, yet it requires humility to admit the drift. There is a line between mercy and consequence. Mercy speaks first. It warns, it corrects, it nudges. Consequence speaks when mercy is dismissed. And right now, mercy is still speaking loudly. The shout from heaven is mercy amplified. It is love intensified. It is a father refusing to let his child walk blindly into harm. Within hours, events may confirm this message. You may see why the urgency was necessary. You may recognize that the warning was not exaggerated. And in that moment, the only thing that will matter is whether you listened or ignored. But hear this clearly. Even if you have ignored warnings before, this moment is still open. The very fact that you are hearing this means the line is not yet fully closed. You are not beyond restoration. You are not locked into consequence yet. The shout from heaven is proof that grace is still active. Do not let pride convince you to dismiss this. Do not let familiarity numb the urgency. The consequence of ignoring heaven's voice is heavier than the discomfort of immediate obedience. Correction now is lighter than regret later. Humility now is easier than rebuilding later. Alignment now is safer than exposure later. God is not shouting to control you. He is shouting to protect you. He is not raising his voice to condemn you. He is raising it to redirect you. And if you respond in these next few hours, the story will shift from consequence to protection. The silence after ignored warnings is heavy, but the peace after obedience is powerful. Choose the peace. Choose the alignment. Choose to respond while the voice is still loud and the window is still open. Before every major shift, there are signals. They are not always dramatic. They do not always come with thunder or visible signs in the sky. Often, they arrive quietly, through unease, repetition, interruption, or a sudden awareness that something is no longer stable. The problem is not that God fails to signal. The problem is that many fail to discern what the signals mean. And right now, before something serious happens within hours, the signals are already present around you. One of the first signals before a shift is intensified conviction. What you were once able to ignore suddenly feels heavier. A habit you tolerated begins to disturb your peace. A compromise that seemed small now feels urgent. This is not random guilt. This is heightened spiritual sensitivity. When a shift approaches, the Holy Spirit increases awareness. It is like a spotlight shining brighter on areas that must be corrected before movement begins. Another signal is repetition. The same message keeps appearing. The same theme keeps surfacing in conversations, sermons, thoughts, or even unexpected encounters. When God repeats himself, it is not because he lacks creativity. It is because the matter is critical. Repetition is reinforcement. It is heaven's way of underlining what cannot be overlooked. If you have been hearing the same correction over and over in different forms, that is a signal. Instruction is also a sign. Plans begin to stall. Doors you tried to force open refuse to move. Situations become uncomfortable without clear explanation. This is often misinterpreted as opposition, when in reality it may be protection. When something serious is about to happen, God will sometimes block what would place you in the wrong position when the shift occurs. The frustration you feel could be divine interruption designed to reposition you. Pay attention to unusual urgency in your spirit. If you suddenly feel compelled to fix something immediately, to reach out to someone, to pray deeply, or to make a decisive change, do not dismiss it. Sudden urgency often precedes sudden events. It is preparation in advance. It is heaven saying, "Align now," because movement is close. Dreams and thoughts can also intensify before a shift. You may find yourself reflecting on past mistakes more clearly. You may remember warnings you once ignored. You may even sense specific words repeating in your mind. Correct this. Step away from that. Make this right. These are not random mental loops. They are signals calling for response. Here is also the signal of spiritual resistance. When you try to pray, distractions increase. When you attempt to focus, interruptions multiply. This is not coincidence. When a shift approaches, opposition tries to keep you unaware. It tries to maintain your delay. Recognizing this resistance is part of discernment. The more resistance you feel around obedience, the more important that obedience likely is. Another powerful signal is loss of peace. Peace is often the first indicator of alignment. When peace begins to fade in a particular area of your life, it is rarely meaningless. It may not mean disaster is certain, but it does mean attention is required. Peace withdrawing is often a warning light flashing on your spiritual deckboard. You must also discern the signal of sudden clarity. Sometimes, before a shift, everything becomes obvious at once. The confusion lifts. The excuses no longer convince you. You see the pattern clearly. That clarity is mercy. It is God removing the fog so you cannot claim ignorance later. When clarity arrives, action must follow quickly. What makes this moment different is the timing. These signals are not scattered randomly over years. They are clustering within a short window. They are intensifying. That clustering is prophetic. It indicates that the shift is near. It confirms that the warning is not distant but immediate. Something serious is about to happen within hours, and the signals are preparation for that movement. Discernment requires humility. It requires admitting that discomfort may be divine guidance. It requires accepting that delay may no longer be safe. It requires choosing awareness over denial. The signals are not meant to scare you. They are meant to position you correctly before the ground shifts. Imagine standing on a shoreline as the tide quietly pulls back farther than usual. To the untrained eye, it may seem harmless, but to someone who understands the signs, it signals that a powerful wave may be forming. The wise do not stand still debating. They move to higher ground immediately. Right now, the tide is pulling back in certain areas of your life. Pay attention. God is not silent before movement. He alerts them. He signals them. The question is not whether signals are present. The question is whether you will recognize them in time. These next few hours are crucial. The signals you are sensing are not coincidences. They are invitations to align. They are mercy extended in advance. If you respond now, if you correct what needs correction, release what needs releasing, and obey what needs obeying, you will stand in a place of protection when the shift arrives. Discern the signals. Do not dismiss them. Do not rationalize them. Do not postpone responding to them. Because when something serious begins to unfold within hours, those who paid attention to the signals will remain steady, while those who ignored them will scramble for stability. You have been alerted. You have been shown the signs. The shift is closer than it appears. When heaven declares that something serious is about to happen within hours, it is not speaking in vague symbolism. It is pointing to movement. It is revealing at a shift loam forming beneath. The surface is about to break into visibility. The question is not whether something will happen. The question is how it will manifest in your life, and whether you will be positioned in protection or caught in exposure. What is about to happen is not random chaos. It is a revealing. It is the uncovering of what had been hidden. In many cases, what unfolds within hours will bring truth to the surface. Conversations that were concealed may become known. Motives that were masked may be exposed. Plans that were forming quietly may suddenly be revealed. When God warns in advance, it is often because exposure is near. And exposure always carries two edges that can wound, or it can free. For some, what is about to happen will feel like a shaking. Not necessarily a physical shaking, but a shaking of stability. Something you thought was secure may show cracks. An assumption you relied on may prove unreliable. A person you leaned on may reveal inconsistency. This shaking is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to reveal what cannot hold weight. Anything built on unstable ground will tremble when pressure increases. Within hours, there may also be acceleration. Decisions that were delayed could suddenly be finalized. Situations that lingered in uncertainty may resolve quickly. Doors that seemed stuck may either swing open or close firmly. Acceleration is a sign that the waiting phase has ended. And when acceleration begins, clarity follows. You will know where you stand. For some, what unfolds will be internal rather than external. A realization may strike with unusual force. You may see clearly the mistake you were about to repeat. You may recognize the pattern that has followed you for years. The seriousness of the moment may suddenly make sense. That internal awakening is just as powerful as any outward event. It is the shifting of perspective that prevents future damage. There is also the possibility of separation. When shifts occur, alignments are tested. Some connections strengthen, others weaken. You may notice distance forming where there was once closeness, where you may feel unexpected support rising from surprising places. Separation is not always loss. Sometimes it is divine sorting. It is heaven removing what would hinder your next season. What is about to happen within hours will expose alignment. If you have responded to the warning, you will feel steadiness even if circumstances change. If you have ignored it, you may feel instability. Not because you are doomed, but because misalignment feels heavier when pressure increases. Pressure reveals positioning. Do not assume that serious always means catastrophic. Serious means significant. It means consequential. It means something that alters direction. This could be a turning point that redirects your path toward safety. It could be a revelation that prevents you from stepping into regret. It could be clarity that saves you from repeating a costly mistake. There is also a spiritual dimension unfolding. Battles you cannot see are reaching resolution. Prayers you thought were unanswered may be moving toward manifestation. But alongside breakthroughs there can be confrontations. What has resisted correction may resist more strongly before surrendering. This is why obedience before the shift is crucial. Obedience anchors you during movement. Within hours, communication may arrive that changes your understanding. A message, a call, an update. Something that makes you pause and say, "Now I understand why the warning came." When that moment arrives, remember that you were prepared. Remember that heaven gave you advance notice. If what unfolds feels uncomfortable, do not panic. Ask yourself first, did I respond to the warning? If you did, then trust that what is happening is working for your protection, not your destruction. If you realize you delayed, do not collapse into shame. Respond immediately. Even within unfolding events, correction still carries power. This shift is also about boundaries. Within hours, you may be required to draw a firm line, to say no where you once said yes, to step back where you once leaned in, to speak truth where you once stayed silent. The seriousness of the moment will demand clarity. What is about to happen is not meant to surprise those who listen. It is meant to confirm that heaven was accurate. It is meant to validate the urgency. And once it unfolds, you will see that the shout was mercy, not exaggeration. Prepare your heart. Prepare your mind. Remain alert. Something serious is about to happen within hours, and whether it feels like exposure, acceleration, separation, or revelation, it will mark a dividing line. After it passes, you will not stand in exactly the same place you stand now. A shift is approaching. The revealing is near. And those who responded to heaven's voice will recognize that they were not caught off guard. They were positioned in advance. In moments like this, when heaven has shouted and the atmosphere feels charged with urgency, it is easy to focus on what might happen. But the true power of this hour is not in the event itself. It is in your decision. Because while something serious is about to happen within hours, there is one decision that can change everything, and it is available to you right now. That decision is simple, but it is not always easy. It is the decision to obey immediately, not partially, not emotionally, not when it feels convenient. Immediately. Throughout your life, there have been crossroads. Some seem small at the time. A conversation you chose to avoid. A habit you chose to continue. A warning you chose to downplay. Those small crossroads quietly shape larger outcomes. But today's crossroads feels different because it is urgent. The margin for delay has narrowed. And that is why this one decision carries unusual weight. Obedience breaks cycles. Patterns that have repeated for years can collapse in a single decisive moment. The mistake heaven warned you not to repeat does not have power over you unless you choose it again. That is the truth the enemy hopes you never fully grasp. The cycle survives on your hesitation. It survives on your assumption that just one more time will not matter. But when you choose differently, truly differently, the cycle loses its grip. This decision may look like humility. It may require you to admit, even privately before God, I was wrong. It may require you to send a message you have been postponing. It may require you to cut off something that has slowly been draining your spiritual strength. It may require you to step back from an influence that has clouded your judgment. The form may vary, but the essence is the same: alignment. Alignment means bringing your will back under divine instruction. It means saying, if you warn me, I will respond. It means valuing protection more than pride. In these next few hours, alignment will determine whether the unfolding shift works for you or against you. Understand this clearly. God does not shout because he wants to control you. He shouts because he sees what you cannot see. And when you choose obedience, you are not surrendering freedom. You are stepping into protection. The one decision to obey positions you differently when the ground begins to move. Some of you are waiting to feel emotionally ready before acting. But obedience is not always preceded by comfort. Sometimes it is followed by peace. The peace comes after the decision, not before it. If you wait to feel perfect clarity or complete confidence, you may miss the window entirely. Faith moves first. Understanding follows. Within hours, events may confirm the urgency of this moment. But if you have already made the decision to align, those events will not destabilize you. They will clarify you. They will affirm that you chose wisely. They will reveal that heaven's warning was an act of love. This one decision can also restore what you thought was lost. There are blessings that pause when misalignment continues. There are doors that hesitate to open when compromise lingers. But the moment obedience returns, movement resumes. Restoration can begin faster than you expect. Protection can reestablish itself quickly. Clarity can flood in where confusion once lingered. Do not underestimate the power of immediacy. Delayed obedience in dilute obedient. But immediate obedience carries authority. It signals seriousness and demonstrates trust, and it shifts spiritual momentum. The next few hours are not only about what might happen around you, they are about what can happen within you. You are not powerless in this moment. You are not at the mercy of events. You have agency. You have choice, and that choice is more powerful than you realize. The enemy wants you to believe that patterns are permanent and that mistakes are inevitable. But heaven is declaring the opposite. You can break the pattern. You can choose differently. You can respond in a way that alters the trajectory. If there is something you need to release, release it now. If there is something you need to confess, confess it now. If there is something you need to walk away from, walk away now. Do not negotiate with what you already know is wrong. Do not debate what heaven has already clarified. The seriousness of what is about to happen within hours does not have to create fear. It can create focus. It can sharpen your discernment. It can awaken your courage. Because when you decide to obey, you transform from someone bracing for impact into someone standing under protection. This is your moment. The warning has been given. The signals have been explained. The shift is approaching. And the one decision that can change everything is in your hands. Choose obedience. Choose alignment. Choose to respond before the hours pass. When the next phase begins, you will either look back with relief that you listened, or with regret that you hesitated. Make the decision now that your future self will thank you for. When a warning comes with this much urgency, it is easy to focus on the seriousness of what might unfold. It is easy to feel the weight of the words, something serious is about to happen within hours. But what many fail to recognize is that the louder the warning, the deeper the mercy behind it. God does not shout because he wants to frighten you. He shouts because he refuses to let you walk blindly into what could have been avoided. Mercy is not always soft. Sometimes mercy raises its voice. Sometimes mercy interrupts your plans. Sometimes mercy exposes what you hoped would stay hidden. And in this moment, mercy is wrapped inside urgency. The very fact that you were alerted before the shift is proof that heaven is still protecting you. Think about this carefully. If God intended harm, he would not warn you. If he wanted you to stumble without correction, he would remain silent. Silence would be judgment. But a shout is intervention. A shout is a father stepping in before the door closes. A shout is love refusing to watch destruction unfold. The warning you are hearing right now is not a declaration of doom. It is an invitation to safety. It is a call to reposition. It is mercy saying, move before the impact. And when you understand that, the tone changes. What once felt intimidating now feels protective. There is mercy in exposure. If something hidden is about to be revealed within hours, it is better for it to be revealed in light than discovered in darkness. Exposure under divine covering brings correction without total collapse. It brings clarity without complete devastation. Mercy allows you to adjust before consequences harden. There is mercy in acceleration. When situations move quickly, it can feel overwhelming. But sometimes acceleration prevents prolonged damage. Instead of months of confusion, there are moments of clarity. Instead of years of uncertainty, there is swift resolution. What feels intense may actually be efficient grace. There is mercy in separation. If certain alignments begin to shift within hours, if relationships change, if connections weaken, if paths diverge, that separation may be protection in disguise. Not every loss is punishment. Some losses are rescue missions. Some distances are divine barriers preventing deeper wounds. The mercy hidden inside the warning also reveals something about your value. God does not raise his voice over what he considers insignificant. He warns because you matter. He intervenes because your future carries purpose. He refuses to let patterns destroy what he has invested in you. Your urgency is evidence of importance. Right now, mercy is giving you time. Not endless time, but enough time. Enough time to pray. Enough time to correct. Enough time to align. The window is narrow, but it is real. And that is grace. You are not being told after the fact. You are being told before the shift. Some of you may feel emotional as you hear this. Not because you are afraid, but because you recognize the pattern. You recognize how close you were to repeating it. You recognize how easily you could have dismissed the warning again. That realization is mercy awakening you. It is clarity replacing denial. Understand this deeply. God's desire is always restoration before consequence. His first instinct is correction, not collapse. His first move is warning, not removal. And even when something serious happens within hours, his intention is still redemption for those who respond. If you choose obedience now, what unfolds will not crush you. It will refine you. It will confirm that heaven was guiding you away from deeper pain. It will reveal that the shout was love amplified. And here is something powerful to hold on to. Warnings are temporary, but mercy is consistent. The tone may feel intense for a moment, but the heart behind it is steady compassion. God is not unstable. He is not reacting emotionally. He is responding intentionally to protect what matters. What you are about to understand will shift your perspective completely. The next development, whatever form it takes, will make sense in light of this mercy. You will see that the urgency was not exaggeration. It was rescue. And when you look back, you will be grateful that heaven refused to whisper. Type mercy moved for me in the comments if you receive this truth. Blessing code 528 is now activated over your life. May grace surround you, may clarity increase, and may protection rest over these next critical hours. Do not fear the seriousness of what is approaching. Respect it. Respond to it. But above all, recognize the mercy inside it. You are being guarded, not targeted. You are being redirected, not rejected. The warning is love because love is strong. The urgency is high because your future is valuable. And within these next few hours, you will witness not just the seriousness of the moment, but the faithfulness of the one who warned you. What you just felt, that realization of mercy, is exactly why this mission must continue. There are countless people standing in their own urgent hour who have not yet heard the warning wrapped in love. When you release a super thanks, become a member, or sow through PayPal using the link in the description or the QR code on your screen, you are pouring living water into dry hearts across nations. The Lord speaks over you. As you give light, I will cause light to rise upon you. This is your prophetic response to mercy, sowing so others can be rescued before their moment closes. I am calling you to partner in this divine assignment, to keep the trumpet sounding while there is still time. Your seed becomes oil that keeps this lamp burning through the night. As you act now, may open heavens respond over your household. Move in obedience, and let your giving speak in this hour. The warning has been delivered. The urgency has been explained. The mercy behind the message hath been revealed. Now everything narrows down to this: your response in the next few minutes. Not tomorrow. Not later tonight. Not when it feels more convenient. The next few minutes carry weight because they determine how you step into the next few hours. When heaven shouts, the proper response is not panic, it is action. Calm, decisive, immediate action. You do not need dramatic gestures. You need honest alignment. Right now, pause internally and ask yourself, what exactly has God been pointing at in my life? Where have I felt repeated conviction? What have I been delaying that I know requires correction? Clarity usually comes faster than we admit. The answer is often already sitting in your heart. Your first response must be humility. Pride delays. Pride defends. Pride justifies. But humility moves quickly. Humility says, if you are warning me, I will not argue. In these next few minutes, humility can shield you from regret. It can interrupt patterns that have lasted years. It can reposition you before the shift begins. Second, respond with confession. Not public performance. Not dramatic display. But private honesty before God. Speak it clearly. Name the mistake. Acknowledge the repetition. Break agreement with it verbally. There is power in spoken surrender. When you articulate your decision, you close doors that silence kept open. Third, take practical action. If there is a message you need to send, send it. If there is something you need to delete, delete it. If there is a boundary you need to establish, establish it. If there is a conversation you need to initiate, initiate it. Obedience is not just spiritual emotion. It is tangible movement. Small, decisive steps taken now can redirect what unfolds within hours. Do not underestimate the power of speed. Delayed obedience weakens momentum. Immediate obedience strengthens it. These next few minutes are not casual. They are catalytic. They set the tone for what follows. They determine whether the seriousness of the moment feels like protection or like consequence. You must also guard your thoughts. When urgency rises, fear tries to enter. But fear is not your guide. Clarity is. If you have responded correctly, do not sit anxiously waiting for disaster. Stand confidently knowing you aligned when warned. Peace will follow obedience. Not always instantly, but steadily. There is something powerful about making your decision visible. When you declare your intention openly, it strengthens your resolve. That is why I want you to do something right now. If you are choosing obedience in this moment, comment, I choose obedience. Let that declaration seal your response. Like this video as a sign that you are not ignoring the warning. Share it with someone who may need to respond quickly as well. And if you have not already, subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to every divine alert that could protect your future. These actions are not routine engagement. They are alignment. They are your way of saying, I will not sleep through this hour. Your response in the next few minutes will either calm the storm before it forms or leave you scrambling once it arrives. The choice is that direct. Do not complicate it. You already know what needs to be done. The seriousness of what is about to happen within hours is not meant to paralyze you. It is meant to sharpen you. Some of you may feel resistance rising even now. Thoughts like, maybe this is exaggerated, or maybe I still have time. Recognize that resistance for what it is, a final attempt to keep you in delay. This is not the hour to debate. It is the hour to decide. The beauty of immediate response is that it shifts the narrative. Instead of waiting to see what happens, you step into partnership with heaven. Instead of bracing for impact, you prepare for protection. Instead of fearing exposure, you welcome refinement. In the next few minutes, choose clarity over comfort. Choose correction over convenience. Choose obedience over habit. These minutes are seeds. What you plant in them will grow in the coming hours. And hear this carefully. Once you respond, release anxiety. Trust that the one who warned you is also the one who guards you. You are not navigating this shift alone. You are being guided through it. There is more you need to understand about what happens after you respond, because the next phase will reveal the difference between obedience and delay in ways you may not expect. What unfolds after this decision carries insight that will either confirm your peace or confront your hesitation. Make your move now. Seal your choice, and prepare yourself for what these next hours will reveal. When something serious is about to happen within hours and you have chosen to respond with obedience, a natural question follows. How will I know I responded correctly? How will I recognize that I aligned myself in time? The answer is not always dramatic, but it is unmistakable. There are signs, clear, steady indicators, that confirm you shifted before the shift. The first sign is peace that does not make logical sense. Circumstances around you may still feel uncertain. The external situation may not have resolved yet. But internally, something settles. The panic that tried to grip you loses strength. The racing thoughts slow down. There is a quiet steadiness that anchors you. That peace is not denial. It is confirmation. It is heaven's way of signaling that you stepped under covering before the pressure increased. His peace is different from avoidance. Avoidance numbs. Peace clarifies. When you have responded correctly, your mind becomes clearer, not foggier. You are able to think without spiraling. You are able to observe without assuming the worst. Even if events begin to unfold quickly, your heart does not collapse. Instead, it holds steady. The second sign is clarity of direction. When you ignored the warning in the past, confusion lingered. You second-guessed yourself. You went back and forth internally. But when you respond immediately, direction sharpens. You know what your next step is. It may be small, but it is defined. The uncertainty that once surrounded you begins to thin out. Another sign is conviction lifting. Not conviction disappearing completely, but transforming. Instead of feeling accused or pressured, you feel aligned. The heavy sense of something isn't right shifts into assurance that you corrected it. That shift is powerful. It tells you that the internal imbalance has been addressed. You may also notice strengthened discernment. After obedience, awareness increases. You begin to see things more accurately. Red flags that were once ignored become obvious. Patterns that once confused you become clear. It is as if a lens hath been cleaned. That sharpened discernment is protection preparing you for what is unfolding within hours. There is also a sign in your emotional stability. When pressure rises externally, those who ignored the warning often react impulsively. They speak too quickly. They panic. They overcorrect. But those who responded in time exhibit restraint. They pause. They choose their words carefully. They act rather than react. Emotional control in the middle of unfolding events is evidence of prior alignment. Another confirmation comes through unexpected favor. Within hours, you may see doors open that you did not anticipate. Support may come from surprising places. Conversations may resolve more smoothly than expected. These moments are not coincidences. They are signs that obedience shifted your position before impact. There is also the subtle but powerful sign of confidence. Not arrogance, but grounded assurance. When something serious begins to unfold, you may feel the intensity, but you will not feel abandoned. You will not feel exposed in the same way you did during past mistakes. Instead, you will sense that you are being carried through it. Pay attention to how you sleep after your decision. Obedience often restores rest. Even if external circumstances remain active, your spirit finds relief. Rest is a sign that your internal alignment is correct. Anxiety may knock, but it does not control. You may also notice a decrease in internal argument. Before, you debated with yourself. You justified. You rationalized. But after obedience, that internal noise quiets. The debate ends because the decision has been made. Silence replaces tension. When the event within hours unfolds, whether it is exposure, revelation, separation, or acceleration, you will experience it differently than you would have before. Instead of shock, you will feel recognition. Instead of scrambling, you will adjust calmly. Instead of regret, you will feel gratitude that you listened. This does not mean everything will feel easy. It means you will feel anchored. Serious moments can still carry intensity. But intensity without panic is strength. Movement without collapse is maturity. Pressure without despair is evidence of protection. If you do not feel these signs yet, do not rush to assume you failed. Reflect honestly. Did you respond fully or partially? Did you act decisively or symbolically? Sometimes the absence of peace reveals incomplete obedience. And if that is the case, you still have time to adjust before the hours pass. Remember, the goal was never to avoid all seriousness. The goal was to position yourself correctly within it. And when you respond in time, the unfolding shift becomes confirmation rather than catastrophe. As the next few hours move forward, observe your inner state. That will tell you more than external noise. Peace, clarity, discernment, stability. These are the fingerprints of correct response. You will know you responded correctly not because nothing happens, but because what happens does not break you. Instead, it strengthens your awareness that heaven warned you. You listened, and you stepped into alignment before the ground shifted. There is a phrase that has quietly damaged more destinies than open rebellion ever could. It sounds harmless. It feels reasonable. It whispers, "I'll handle it later." And in moments like this, when God is shouting from heaven and something serious is about to happen within hours, that phrase becomes extremely dangerous. Because delaying one more time may not simply postpone the outcome. It may permanently shape it. Delay feels safe in the moment. It buys temporary comfort. It allows you to avoid uncomfortable conversations, difficult decisions, or painful admissions. But delay is deceptive. It disguises itself as patience while slowly becoming disobedience. When heaven has clearly warned you, and you still choose to wait, you are not gathering wisdom, you are gambling with timing. Timing is everything in the spirit. There are windows that open and close. There are moments when grace is extended specifically to correct what has been repeated. But those moments are not indefinite. When God says something serious is about to happen within hours, He is not exaggerating to pressure you emotionally. He is revealing that a threshold is approaching, and thresholds do not wait for indecision. The danger of delaying one more time is not just external consequence. It is internal hardening. The first delay creates discomfort. The second delay creates justification. The third delay creates numbness. Over time, what once convicted you no longer moves you. That is how cycles become entrenched. Not through dramatic rebellion, but but through quiet postponement. You may think, it's just a few more hours. But those hours may be the very boundary God highlighted. When a shift is about to occur, small decisions carry amplified weight. Waiting until after the shift begins can change how it affects you. Acting before it begins positions you differently within it. There is also the danger of missed intervention. When you delay, you may miss the exact moment when correction would have prevented escalation. A word unsaid becomes a wound that grows. A boundary not set becomes a door left open. A habit not broken becomes a stronger chain. Delaying one more time strengthens what should have been weakened. Consider how many regrets in life begin with "I knew I should have." That sentence is the echo of delay. It is the realization that warning was present, clarity was available, and action was possible, but comfort was chosen instead. God is shouting now so that sentence does not become your testimony hours from now. Another danger of delay is false confidence. You may assume that because nothing has happened yet, nothing will. But silence before a shift is not proof of safety. It is often the final quiet before movement. Just because the consequence has not appeared does not mean it is not forming. There is also a spiritual dimension to delay. When you hesitate after clear instruction, it signals divided loyalty. It suggests that obedience is negotiable. That mindset weakens spiritual authority. It dulls discernment. It makes future warnings easier to ignore. Delaying one more time does not just affect this moment. It affects your sensitivity in the next one. And here is the truth many avoid. Sometimes the opportunity to correct does not return in the same form. Once exposure happens, it cannot be undone. Once a decision is finalized, it cannot always be reversed. Once trust is broken publicly, it cannot be restored instantly. Acting before the shift is wisdom. Acting after may be damage control. Right now, you are standing in the last stretch of mercy before something serious unfolds. The warning has been clear. The signals have been explained. The decision has been presented. To delay now would not be confusion, it would be choice. And that is what makes it dangerous. You may feel tired of responding to warnings. You may think, I've heard this before. But that is exactly why it matters. Repeated warnings mean repeated risk. And repetition without correction compounds consequence. The enemy thrives on postponement. He does not need you to rebel dramatically. He only needs you to wait one more time. To push action to tomorrow. To convince yourself that urgency is exaggeration. That is how cycles survive. That is how opportunities close quietly. But you do not have to fall into that pattern again. You do not have to repeat what nearly cost you before. You do not have to allow delay to dictate your future. You can break the pattern now by acting now. Within hours, something serious is about to happen. And when it does, the difference between obedience and delay will become visible. One will stand in stability. The other will scramble for correction. Do not let later steal what now can protect. Do not let comfort rob you of covering. Do not let hesitation become your regret. This is the final stretch before the shift. The danger is not the event itself. It is ignoring the warning one more time. We have walked through the urgency. We have uncovered the mistake. We have seen the signals, the shift, the mercy, the decision, the confirmation, and the danger of delay. And now we arrive at this final moment, this closing call before something serious happens within hours. This is not repetition for dramatic effect. This is reinforcement for your protection. God is shouting from heaven, don't make this mistake again. That sentence carries both warning and love. It carries both urgency and hope. Because if it were too late, there would be no shout. If your story were already sealed in regret, there would be no invitation to correct. The very existence of this message proves that divine assurance is still active over your life. Yes, something serious is about to happen within hours. But serious does not automatically mean destructive. Serious means decisive. It means defining. It means a moment that separates what was from what will be. And if you have responded with humility and obedience, this serious moment will not crush you, it will clarify you. Heaven does not warn to terrify. Heaven warns to prepare, and preparation changes outcomes. When storms approach, those who are prepared experience them differently than those who ignore forecasts. The wind may still blow, but the foundation holds. The rain may still fall, but the structure remains standing. In the same way, if you have aligned yourself in these final moments, you are not bracing for disaster. You are standing under covering. Let this settle in your spirit. God's heart toward you is protection. His desire is restoration. His warning was not anger, it was intervention. The mistake does not have to define you. The pattern does not have to repeat. The regret does not have to return. That is the assurance woven into this entire message. Within hours, when events unfold, whether through exposure, revelation, separation, acceleration, or confirmation, you will see the wisdom of responding. You will understand why the urgency was necessary. And instead of saying, "I wish I had listened," you will say, "I am grateful I did." If you feel peace right now, hold on to it. That peace is not accidental. It is a sign of alignment. If you feel conviction, respond to it immediately. Conviction is still mercy speaking. And if you feel uncertain, choose obedience anyway. Obedience clears uncertainty faster than analysis ever will. There is also this promise: restoration moves quickly when humility is present. Even if you stumbled before, even if you delayed in the past, even if you repeated the mistake once already, the moment you fully turn, heaven responds. Protection reestablishes itself. Clarity returns. Your action sharpens. You are not beyond redemption. You are not beyond divine assistance. You are still within reach of grace. This final warning is not about fear, it is about focus. Focus on what matters. Focus on alignment. Focus on obedience. Do not let distractions pull you back into carelessness. Do not let familiarity weaken your urgency. What is about to happen within hours will mark a line in your story. And because you were warned, that line can become a testimony of protection rather than regret. You were not chosen to be overwhelmed. You were chosen to be aware. You were not alerted to be anxious. You were alerted to be prepared. The shout from heaven was not rejection. It was rescue. As we close, receive this assurance deeply. You are seen. You are valued. You are guided. The God who warned you is the same God who walks with you into the next hours. You will not face them alone. You will not navigate them blindly. You have been positioned intentionally. Type "I am aligned" in the comments if you are stepping into these next hours with obedience. Blessing code 902 is now activated over your life. May protection surround you. May clarity lead you. May peace anchor you. And may every serious moment ahead serve your growth rather than your harm. Stand firm. Remain alert. Walk in obedience. And when the shift unfolds within hours, you will recognize that heaven shouted not to scare you, but to save you. What you just received is not meant to stay contained within this moment. There are others standing at the edge of their own critical hour, unaware that heaven is calling their name. when you release a super thanks. Become a member or sow through PayPal using the link in the description or the QR code on your screen. You are planting seeds into soil that produces eternal harvest. The Lord declares over you, those who sow in obedience will reap in protection. I am inviting you to stand as a watchman with this mission, fueling the trumpet that warns and rescues. This is not a donation. It is alignment with a divine assignment. As you act now, may open heavens respond over your household and multiply back into your life. Let your seed speak in this hour and seal this message with action.